T-minus 3 minutes and 38 seconds and counting down. Since we last talked with you, the strongback has begun reclining away from the Falcon 9 at Slickfort, Vandenberg. Next major activities we're going to get into, about 3 minutes before launch, we'll begin securing liquid oxygen loading on the first stage. 2 minutes to go before launch, the second stage will complete. At T-minus 1 minute, the flight computers will go into startup and they'll take over the sequence leading to liftoff on the Falcon 9. A couple of words of warning. We've been loading helium into the second stage. The final go-no-go call for that would come just about 1 minute before launch, so we'll be listening in case we have not got enough helium on board. Another warning, at about T-minus 90 seconds, we begin venting the gaseous oxygen out of the ground side of that strongback. You might see a large white cloud coming off of the strongback. That's normal, nothing to be worried about. The Iridium satellites are ready to go. The range is ready to support. We've been looking at cruise ship, but they're not an issue this morning, and the weather looks good. We've heard stage 1 locks closeout complete. We're coming up on the 2-minute mark, so let's listen in to the terminal countdown of Falcon 9 with Iridium Mission 3.
ROC, this is RC on countdown 1. Can you confirm that the range is green?
Rockin' work.
Falcon 9 is on internal power. Stage 2 lock secured.
Rock range is green.
Vehicles in self-align. Stage 1, Stage 2 carry handling secured.
AFTS is ready for launch.
Falcon 9's in startup. Stage 2, the startup pressures.
LD go for launch.
30. 20.
Stage 1 is at liftoff pressures.
15.
Falcon 9's configured for flight.
10. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. GC moving to propulsion pad operations to secure the pad editing.
GC copies, Wilco.
T plus 1 minute and 17 seconds into flight. Falcon 9 approaching max Q. You've heard the call out, MVAC-D chilling.
MVAC chill's begun.
We're now getting the second stage engine ready for ignition. Several activities coming up here very shortly. At T plus 2 minutes and 24 seconds, we expect main engine cutoff, followed immediately by stage separation and ignition of the upper stage engine. Right after that, the first stage will begin the first of 3 burns to return us back to the Pacific Ocean to the drone ship parked offshore about 300 kilometers downrange. Coming up on MECO.
We have Miko. We have back ignition.
T plus 2 minutes and 47 seconds into flight. We've had successful stage separation and ignition of the upper stage engine. And as you can see, we've also relit 3 of the engines on the first stage to begin the sequence that will return it to the drone ship in the Pacific Ocean. Boost back burn lasts about 30 seconds. And we have fairing separation. Had a brief view of the Iridium satellites as the fairing separated. Again, it's just before dawn as we head south over the Pacific Ocean, so we're not getting any sunlight. First stage boost back burn did complete. Fairing did successfully separate. We're waiting to hear the drone ship AOS, that's acquisition of signal. That indicates the drone ship is receiving telemetry from the first stage. Second stage propulsion continues to look nominal, coming up at T plus 4 minutes into flight. T plus 5 minutes into the flight of Falcon 9 carrying 10 Iridium Next satellites. Next event in our timeline is in about 35 seconds. That'll be a second ignition of the Falcon 9 first stage, what we call the entry burn. This is a burn of 3 Merlin 1D engines that'll slow us down for the actual re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. The burn itself will last about 13 seconds. Meanwhile, second stage, performance continues to look good. The trajectory is good. Engine parameters look good.
Stage 1 entry startup.
And you see the flare on the screen. We have startup. It looks like all 3 engines are up and running. Also, you can see silhouetted the grid fins did deploy earlier. They'll now be used to guide us as we enter the Earth's atmosphere. And we've had shutdown of the entry burn.
Stage 1 AFTS has saved.
The automated flight termination system, autonomous flight termination system, has saved on the first stage. We're coming up on T plus 7 minutes. Stage 1 is headed back to the drone ship in the Pacific Ocean. Stage 2 still headed to its initial parking orbit. Shutdown of the second stage engine should be just over T plus 9 minutes into
Large
flight.
AOS.
Now we're getting ready for the landing burn of the first stage.
Landing burn start. Stage 1 landing successful.
Delta LOS.
7.5 minutes into flight. You can hear from the applause. We lost the signal briefly, then it returned with the view of the first stage in that pre-dawn darkness, sitting on top of Just Read the Instructions. Out in the Pacific Ocean, a successful landing of the first stage. Meanwhile, the primary mission continuing. The second stage, 7 minutes and 54 seconds into flight, a little more than a minute left to go. Propulsion continues to look good on the second stage engine as we power to the low Earth parking orbit carrying the 10 Iridium Next satellites.
Elciane. Zooming in on this fire here.
Stage 2 AFTS has saved.
T plus 8 minutes and 38 seconds into flight. We've heard the autonomous flight termination system has been saved on the second stage call. Second stage just about to go into Earth orbit.
Yes, Seco.
Call out of SECO. Second stage engine cutoff. We're waiting right now for a call out from guidance, nav, and control. They're looking at the orbit of the second stage. Right now it looks at the telemetry we're getting. It looks like we've got a good orbit. This is the parking orbit of the second stage. This is the first of 2 orbits we're headed to today. Looks like we've got a good one here. What's going to happen now is we're entering a coast phase. You might have heard coast phase entry call out just a moment ago. We're going to coast about halfway around the Earth, passing over the Antarctica Peninsula, come up over Africa. We'll relight the second stage engine very briefly. That'll get us into the final orbit from which we'll deploy the 10 Iridium Next satellites. All of that's going to happen at about T plus 52 minutes. So right now, we're just past T plus 10 minutes into flight. We've had a good first stage landing after a great countdown and a liftoff. Second stage performance looked very good getting into low Earth orbit. And so we're now going to go through about a 41-minute coast period. So we're going to leave you an animation showing where the second stage of the Falcon 9 is as we're passing over various features on the Earth. We will resume live coverage of the upper stage mission and the separation of the Iridium Next satellites at T plus 51 minutes after the launch. So about 41 minutes from now, we'll come back, show you the second stage, second burn, and then we'll look for the 10 Iridium Next satellites and their separation. So with that, hang in there with us. We'll be back at T plus 51.